welcome to our panel discussion here after the lunch break. So I guess more people will join. And we start with a short introduction of each panelist. Please, Bernhard.
Is this? Hello, my name is Bernhard. I work for Siemens, quite a big company. So in my case, it's about industrial production. So from Austria, we are responsible for 25 countries, from Uzbekistan to Israel to Poland, and we try to help our customers to digitalize their production.
Good afternoon, my name is Sebren Guston. I'm the head of analysis, data management and reporting in the procurement and logistics department of Reengineering. It's the largest energy provider in Austria. And yeah, looking forward to an interesting discussion.
Hello, nice afternoon. My name is Arne Franzl. I'm leading a data science team at the company Barkside. We are a software development company based in Graz, in Styria, and we're really happy to be here.
Good afternoon. My name is Alex Gaitlein. I'm professor at the University of Technical University of Vienna. I have the honor also to teach at Stanford. My topic is mainly real estate. And it seems that we are responsible for something like 40% of carbon dioxide worldwide. So that brings me into the circle here, and we try to provide some data that make decisions more valuable.
Hello everyone, good afternoon from my side as well. Thank you for taking the time to listen to something we've never seen before. A bunch of men talking about technology, so it's much appreciated. My name is Marcos Moscovitas. I'm the head of the Green Data Hub. What I'm doing in my position is bring together stakeholders from the energy world, the mobility world, circular economy, and the digital climate twin to find common problems and then establish common solutions in the form of use cases and data spaces. So very excited about this panel.
Great, thanks a lot for your introduction. I'd like to begin the panel with the question for best practices. So you all have a lot of experience in the field, so for me it would be interesting at the first point if you have some positive examples which are interesting and special for our audience. And let's start with you, Bernhard. Oh.
Best practices, good question. I think a very good recent example of data and sustainability and brought into the industrial arena is what we are doing with a company. This is called a customer that is called 80 Acres. They are doing vertical farming, and by that trying to bring the agricultural products much nearer to the customers, like in megacities. And these vertical farms, you have, most probably you know what I'm talking about. It's involves a lot of sensors, a lot of data. You can save enormously on energy and water, and also in the transportation process. So we are basically the technology and AI partner for this company, 80 Acres, that is also active in Europe, meanwhile, in the Netherlands. And so I hope this is one of the best practices that will be spread out in the world where AI helps sustainability.
Thanks a lot, Bernhard.
Perfect. Yeah. So our recent best practice would be a collaboration with Sustanista. We really took a deep dive into our purchasing data, and various departments of our company work together. So the development of our company, which is mainly focusing on how can we transform from being Austria's third biggest energy consumer and polluter, so CO2 emitter, to being net zero in 2040, so making Vienna a 100% green city. And there we cooperated and took a deep dive, as already mentioned, into the data, so to know all the products we purchased, where we really do have to put our finger, as we say in German, and where we have to really focus on, okay, these are the major problems in our purchase, process, and there we have to make our purchasing process green and sustainable.
Thanks a lot for the crops. Armin.
I've also been part of a large Austrian energy company, and one of the main use cases there which we talked a lot about was energy consumption, energy efficiency, and how can we derive at the sales departments data science models to ultimately lower the energy consumption of our customers, because we are obligated to do that. And in the previous years, this was kind of a really, really hard topic to get to the customer or to like give him the things at hand that he can like be more energy efficient, because no one really cared about energy efficiency, no one really cared about energy consumption. And today we really see that a lot. So customers approach us also at Parkside and they like say, I have a production plant, how can I save energy? Do you have any kind of data-driven use case to save energy? And I think it's a main part where data science can like really drive sustainability.
Thanks a lot, Armin. Alexander.
I would love to bring 3 companies here in front of the curtain. One is nearby, it's the Castle of Vienna. We started 2 years ago and they said, we want to improve our operation here. They said, but we don't have data. We only know the main energy, main water coming in, but we don't know where it is used. So we started there with using IoT, additional data capturing, and putting it in the local database. It was the same year that we also did the first innovation challenge at Stanford, and we brought there the Office of the Future. The Office of the Future, which was sponsored by Immofinanz, by an Austrian residential developer, Österreichische Siedlungswerk, and an operation company called Simocek, was not only about what should it look like, it was about how can we be energy efficient, but on the other hand, people love the place, well-being is guaranteed there. So what we really did was we did something that the first time the facility management, those people that run the buildings got an information that maybe you want to have it a little bit warmer in your area of city. Maybe you want to have it a little bit colder. And now we have so many people coming to the MyHealth offices of Immofinanz. And by booking your table, you get a suggestion about this would be a more comfortable zone for you, that would be for you. And facility management had an information how many people like it warmer or colder. Plus, we had something like an internal token called the Joule. Yeah, if you in summertime submit, it could get a little bit more. And you say, okay, yes, I do my 24 degrees, 6 degrees, then you get a token and you can go outside to the gym, rent an e-bike for free. So this was, so to say, bringing data to the table to a better operation, but also bringing a benefit to those people using the place. So I hope that was an example you can catch up.
Thank you so much. I would like to present an example that is quite relevant here in Austria, we believe, because it's a very tourist-centered country. And this example combines sustainability in the economic sense, but also in the environmental sense. It's a use case that we did in collaboration with the Austrian Tourism Board, together with a cellular phone provider, tourist regions, 3 of them. And what we did is we looked into mobility data from a cellular perspective, meaning where are people moving. These are the data that you can find. Then we also looked into how many beds are occupied at which time. We looked into where are the key destinations where people want to go. Why did we do this? Because of course there's a congestion problem. And it often happens that people go to a certain tourist location and then they find themselves standing in a queue for 1 hour to go to a good restaurant or get ice cream, whatever. And how do you solve that? And how do you make it economically and environmentally sustainable? Well, what you can do is when you combine this data and give it to an analyst, together with open source weather data, you can see when will people go to a certain destination because it's more or less attractive. And once you have the data, you can then discuss with other neighboring regions, for example, how they can make their offer more attractive so that those persons go to their regions as well. Doing so results in less congestion, meaning less emissions, but in the economic sense, it also helps to decrease pressure on one region and spread the revenue that is generated through tourism to the others. So it's something that really puts out the sustainability perspective across different domains.
Okay, many thanks for this first round. Now for the second round, I'd like to come to the challenges. Because it's a long journey that we really achieved the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So for me, the next point would be, what would you see as a challenge, or maybe also the data gap? What data are you looking for to solve the challenges for your specific companies or for your organizations? And maybe let's go now from this side to this side and start with you, Marcus.
One major challenge that we have seen in the past is the lack of standardization. So oftentimes you have different stakeholders that all have data sets, however they're not standardized in a manner that can be shared between various partners. So that's a key issue. Then if you are working especially with SMEs, they don't have, not all of them of course, but some of them lack the resources to have a good supervisory board that checks that everything is GDPR compliant, for example. So you need to have this GDPR compliance. The second or the third challenge I would see are costs, because getting to do a data space can be costly. You need resources to travel somewhere, to interact with others, you need personnel resources. So we see often that it's more the bigger players that are interested in it, interested in the sense of implementation, not in the sense that they would like to do something in it. The SMEs are interested, but often they simply lack the time and personnel to do so. So those are three challenges I would like to mention to not take anything away from the others here.
Okay, thanks a lot. Alexander.
Where shall I start? I would like to take up the cost, because would you pay more for your flat if you just provide the data about the flat? Yes, no, maybe. It seems that nobody wants to pay more for this flat or for this office. So my investors tell me, Alex, we have a solution that costs nothing. And shame, let's have a look. So going now into the building means a lot of buildings, and we talked beforehand, have some Siemens building automation in it. So these are the nice ones, at least we have locally data. Now comes that yesterday it happened that Siemens now presented their first PLC that also interacts with the internet. Beforehand we had to grab into Backnut or some local field buses to suck out the data. That's not an easy game, and it's not without any costs. So that's rather an expensive game. So what we see is no cost. We have a lot of very local, not standardized data in the office, in the building. If we have, look at this building. Do you think that there's a lot of building automation? So 80% of the buildings in Vienna have no building automation at all. So we don't have any data except invoices. And this was not really a problem for most of my investors, because they said, but yeah, there was something about sustainability. We had the 7 SDGs on the screen already this morning. Okay, yeah, we provide perfect well-being, but it not necessarily was measured. Now came the EU taxonometry. Now it has to have solid data. Solid data means from 26 on that an auditor, like my wife, working in charge of that with PricewaterhouseCoopers, comes to you and says, can you give me a clue how you did calculate this KPI? And she deals with that as it would be an invoice, with the same quality levels. That is my next challenge, that we don't have valid data. We may have valid data from Siemens, of course, because we have such a good building automation, but to get it to us, to the data lake, or to structured data, we have to make sure that all the data comes over, because otherwise we would lose an invoice. And auditors don't like if we don't put all the invoices to our financial accounting system. So data quality, energy we have, how do we measure well-being? If any of you has a perfect taxonomic list, which is full list, how to measure it, please contact me afterwards. My investors would love to see this list. We are so challenged about ES in the ESG and how we get data about that. So, is this enough? No, one last one. Yeah. The last one is, if I'm going to my own university, and we are just asking for a new professorship of building automation, he concentrates, or she will concentrate on heating ventilation, a little bit on the overall systems. But most of them will look for traditional control stick. They are not going to IoT devices, which cost almost nothing. They are going to the traditional ones, which is not sending us the data. So we have a little bit training bottleneck that all these nice installation companies that are hired by Severin use these new technologies so that we really get the data afterwards. So I'm stopping, otherwise.
Many thanks, Alex. Very interesting challenges. Armin.
Yeah. I want to point out two major challenges. One is pretty similar to the ones previously mentioned. So, like when you want to become data-driven as a company, and also data-driven in terms of sustainability, data availability and data quality is always a huge challenge. Like, how can you score how sustainable you are, or how can you compare yourself to industry competitors if you don't have the data to score yourself in all these goals, which you mentioned. And the second thing is, it's a long-term vision. It's similar to classic data science or data-driven as a company. You need to be in it long-term and not do it just for one use case or half a year or 1 year because it's fancy or it's interesting or you want to do it for marketing. It's really, you have to have an organizational buy-in on all levels, like from the top management to the lowest employee, and otherwise it will be pretty tough.
Thanks a lot, Armin. Severin.
I also have, it's funny how all of the companies and people start with the same problem. So I wanted to name the same things. Yeah. So our two main problems are standardization and data quality. So what does the best model helps us if, I don't know, 30% of our, in my case, purchase orders, for example, are not categorized well. So we don't know actually which category they are. So what we need here, data science again can help. We have to analyze the short text. So what are we really purchasing? So we need a model, train it, analyze it, and then put it in the SAP system again, so we can really tackle it. And standardization, what is sustainability? What really is a sustainable purchase? I think we could talk for hours, but we struggle with, there's a definition, or modest definition of the Viennese government and of Austrian government and UN, EU, but there's no clear one path, okay, that says green or red, let's say, or black or white. No, it's not, still not there, yeah. We all know all the problems that ESG and not really ESG brings. So I think there is a lot of matters and really hard work to do in the future to, or authorities that come together and decide, okay, what is really considered sustainable and not, and standardize it. So companies and other initiatives can really work on that.
Thanks a lot, Severin. Bernhard.
I have a little bit more time now. I'm thinking about, okay, I think there are three things, three major challenges. Now the first is that within our companies, but also within our customers, I see these two big groups of people. The one is saying, okay, I look at data science and the possibilities of AI as a total hope. So they are the believers. They believe we can walk on water and you just do some fishing in the dark, and then you just give a data scientist a bunch of data, and then without any domain know-how, he or she comes out the next day with the glorious solution. The other group is the one that says, oh, what bullshit that is, I know much better, and they all can do nothing for me. So I think this making the possibilities of AI a little bit more tangible, and the possibilities, the limitations, and all the expectations within our company, but also with our customers, the first thing. The second thing is sharing data is great. Having good ideas about how to connect and cross connect data is wonderful, but he should do it. Huh? Not me. That is the next thing. I see a lot of customers who say, okay, great, I would like to optimize my multi-continental production lines, sharing the data, but how? Cloud? No, I don't want to go. It should all be on-premise. And then you say, okay, you know, the one is a contradiction to the other, so what do you really want? So this second thing is, what do you really want? I have so many Me Too customers who says internally and also externally who never thought about what's the real value of an IoT use case. At the end, what is the golden nugget in my process? So it's rather more saying, okay, come on, let's try it out what I saw, what a kind of Me Too effect. And the third one is, I believe, what I would call the end-to-end challenge. I see many customers and also on the solution side, we are very much focusing on models, on libraries, on optimizing this and that, and connectivity is somewhere left out. Now, connectivity is that the data then comes in, but connectivity, if you would like to, in a small country, we had this use case with one of the insurance companies in Austria, and we were just thinking about what we could do in Austria with insuring machines that are employed in manufacturing. But nobody can establish connectivity even in a small country like Austria for the whole country in an acceptable period of time. So this end-to-end data science is my third point.
Thanks a lot, Bernhard. Now we know the challenges, and they are quite a lot, I need to say, but we saw again and again similar points. And now the last real discussion point for me would be AI for sustainability. Beginning of June, Sustainista is organizing a hackathon at the ÖBB Innovation Factory, where we want to tackle the challenge to apply AI technologies for solving sustainability challenges. So when you look now on AI and what's possible right now, but even though further thinking about what is possible in 2 or 3 years, what are your expectations? What do you believe will change from now to 2 or 3 years? What will we solve with AI? And what might be possible? And look into the future, Bernhard. Now you start.
Looking into the future, so your question, to be very precise, is what I believe in the next 3 years will be solved or should?
Yes. Now we hear the challenges, and I thought could be interesting now hearing what you expect, what might be solved in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I really hope that the next 3 years that there will be more legislative power forcing us to exchange data. I think that's the most important thing. So if you just let it like that, I mean, because as a poor consumer, I am not really asked if I agree. Yes, I'm asked in all the updates of my mobile phone, but which we all say agree in most of the cases. But I think that for not personal related, unsensitive data, it shall be more legislative push and pressure to make us, in some areas, provide our data more openly. The second thing is more standardization for example, connectivity between clouds, but also connectivity on the shop floor, from my point of view.
Thanks a lot. Marcos, I give you the other one so maybe you can discuss also, because the discussion element is a little bit lacking. But with the data spaces you provide, you try to solve this challenge also in exchanging data. Maybe you can shortly explain how this works.
So what we do is we bring stakeholders stakeholders together in a co-creation workshop. And what that means is that we have somebody from a business development side, which is usually a consultant or consultants, which are identifying in the first stage what is a pain point that one of the stakeholders has, or that many of the stakeholders have, because often it turns out when you bring people from various domains together, so we're not focusing on just one domain, and somebody raises an issue that they face, very often you see that the others agree and say, this is my issue as well. So then, once we have established where it hurts, we try to find the solution. And that works through a guided, mediated process where you hear voices from researchers, from data providers, from data consumers, from service providers, and they discuss what they could do together, which data sets that they own themselves they could bring together in a shared hub to then solve the problem. Once you have that, the question is, of course, who takes on the lead, who finances this? Very often we see that we have the data, we have the motivation, we have the stakeholders, but then the financing question is always the problem because nobody wants to invest. I think this is very often the case in the data world, that everybody is all excited about the great opportunities and the great possibilities of data, but as soon as you ask them, well, do you have your work because somebody needs to pay for all of this, then the room gets very quiet very quickly. But we try to help in this case as well. If we can identify a financing entity, we look on the European level for Horizon Europe calls, we look on the Austrian level for various calls that exist from the various ministries here, and try to be basically in a consulting, assisting position where we tell the people, look, you can apply for this call, and we help you build the consortium as well, so that the use case doesn't die in the idea, but actually goes into implementation. The use case without implementation for us is useless. It's just a nice idea, but it doesn't affect anybody. So we always try to really bring theory into practice.
Okay, thank you, Marcos, for saying that, because it also this really goes into the first point you mentioned here. As you're at the Green Data Hub is a connector there. Maybe let's go next to Severin. Think about AI, and when I have been at your offices at Wien Energie, I saw also this nice dog running around autonomously, checking, autonomously getting data in.
Yeah, measuring things from the power plants, exactly, doing dangerous work.
Yeah, when you see what's possible right now, what do you imagine what will be possible in 2 or 3 years? What will AI bring for increasing, improving the sustainability of green energy?
I think we're just starting to head off. So now with ChatGPT, everyone can really feel and see it and what is possible. So we're just at the beginning, and that's the opium we all hopefully ate at the lunch. So a lot is possible. But for the next 2 years, maybe we can focus on the case I mentioned earlier. Yeah. So let's train a model. We, for example, have 600,000 purchase order items. So the model can be trained, and let's say, okay, learn from them, analyze the shortlists, and then propose something. If somebody does a new purchase order, okay, what category is that? So helping the people to get the data quality we all need and helping them to maintain it. Yeah, not only let's make a project where we do it once right, and then again the next years it's deteriorating and getting worse. So that's not a long-term solution, a sustainable solution. So we really need to tackle the problem in their roots. Yeah, that's what we want to do, and focus on how we can first clean it and then assure that from now on forward we will have clean data. So that is a big challenge, and we will do that. And yeah, of course, in Wien Energie we have a digital competence center, so many people working with I don't know how many use cases and things from automation, process mining, and data science, reporting. So yeah, I don't know if it makes sense if I now name all the things that we are doing. As you can imagine, as a really big company, we're more or less tackling every field there is out there, because we have to, of course. And yeah, fortunately,